Alright guys, in today's video we're talking about how different hand and feet position are going to change the muscles that we're going to be primarily focusing on, right? So something as simple as the deadlift, everybody knows that you're going to be in approximately this position, but I could also go into the sumo deadlift, which is going to change the muscle in my hamstrings from the semimembranosus to semitendinosus, and I'm going to get different muscle activation in my hamstrings, right? Accordingly, my hands are in nice and close, they're not going to be out too wide, okay? So that alone changes the movement significantly. Same with a squat. If my feet are in nice and close for a squat position, I'm going to be working more quads, okay? If my feet go out a little bit wider, I'm going to be using that little bit more arse, okay? Now, hand position up here doesn't matter too much because it depends on how tight your chest is, whether you can get in nice and tight or if you've got to come out wider. If you do have a tight chest, be sure to see us about opening up. Actually, I think one of our videos you've already seen is how to open up your chest. But think about your different body positions as you're moving and how that affects your muscle groups. All right, next up we're going into the bench press. And again, it's amazing how much you can change your movement just by changing your hand position. And bench press, actually, it's surprising how many people have their wrong hand position. Okay, so I'll show you a couple of different examples and as to why each of them are going to work best. Okay, so different hand positions. Obviously, the wider I go, the more chest I'm going to use. The closer I go, elbows in, the more triceps and shoulders I use. So a very crossfitty bench press or a crossfitty push-up, I'm in very close. I'm using a lot of triceps, a lot of shoulders, not a lot of chest. Whereas if I go out and elbows out and hands wide, I end up using a lot of chest, right? Now, for me, to find the best position, I want to be arms at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, which typically means the bar is somewhere between underwire and nipple area, and my forearms want to be vertical at the bottom of the range of motion. A lot of people will be in on an acute angle, and you don't. It's using too much triceps and not enough chest. So really make sure that your forearms are vertical at the bottom of the position. Elbows are at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So for me, with my shoulder width, and this is how you create your unique hand position, depending on your shoulder width and your limb length, I want to be first finger on the lines, and my elbows should be underneath the bar. My forearms should be vertical, if not wider, depending on how much chest I want to hit, and push up from there. Okay, the last one is lat pull-up or seated row. Same philosophy, right? Now, if I go wider hands, I'm going to be hitting more lats. If I come in narrow hands, I'm going to hit more biceps and a little bit more rhomboids, which are the narrow muscles in between your back, okay? So if a guy wants to have a big, strong back, he's going to go hands as wide as he can, pop that chest and pull down his leg less. Obviously, I'm not sitting straight, so take this with a grain of salt, understand what I'm trying to show you here. But I could also, the most functional position is going to be shoulder width overhand, because if I'm trying to climb up a fence or onto someone's roof, then that's the position I'm going to use for that. And then if I really want to hit a lot of biceps, then I'm going to go underhand, again shoulder width apart, and I'm going to pull down into this position here. But of course, I've also got these handles as well, right? So different muscles for different hand positions on how I'm lifting, right? And you should feel it differently depending on which handle you're using, and different handles are for different muscles and different goals. So think about which handle. Don't just use the last handle that was on there, but rather this is typically for your close back, so the muscle's on my back here, and then the wider I go, the wider the muscle is, typically speaking, okay? But they all have their pros and cons and why you want to use them and when you want to use them. Think about your hand position.